Did he did he just give me 2 years? So that's D.O.C, right? Man, fuck. That's pretty much what it was like. Got back from the courthouse, got back to my damn dorm, had to pick up the phone, let everybody know this ain't gonna be no little 6 month stint in the county jail no more. I'm going up there with the big boys. So yeah, today's video is the first time I got that D.O.C, that big boy prison time. I know a bunch of y'all are gonna say, well 2 years ain't shit. For somebody who ain't done nothing but a couple months in the county jail, some juvenile time, hearing that D.O.C sentence for the first time, yeah, that's serious. So yeah, I caught the 2 years. Now what had led up to that, a real wild story. My little brother and I, we had gone out with a couple buddies. We went four-wheeling. Got a couple spots around here where we can go out and get a little muddy, do some wheelies, drink a couple beers, have a good time. So me and my brother went out. A little snow on the ground. It was nice and muddy. We had a blast. A couple of buddies, bunch of bikes. Had a good old time. When we got back, I went ahead and jumped in the shower. Had to get all the muck off me. And my little brother lost the coin flip, so he had to wash the bikes. Now, mind you, he's out there scrubbing the bike down, making his shit look all pretty. And I got in the shower. Just got out. I'm sitting in front of the TV, just a pair of shorts on. Nothing else. You know how it is after the shower. Just sit down and chill. Well, my little brother comes stumbling in the door. Tears bawling out of his eyes. Blood running down his face. His nose is busted. His eyes split open. And he is freaking out. And I look out front. And there's this car just tearing ass up the street. My little brother said, "They got me." Fuck you mean they got you? Man, them dudes, they just jumped me, man. What dudes? Where did they come from? Them dudes in the car that just took off. Man, hell no. So without even thinking about it, I threw some shoes on. Went out front, my car was blocked in. The only car that was able to get out of all the parking spots out front was my mother's brand spanking new '03 Camry. Still had the sticker in the window, from being sold off the showroom floor. Took the keys and I was gone. I chased these three dudes in his car all around this little town down here. We get all the way down into their neighborhood. I see a cop. So I had to stop chasing them. Come back to the house. Of course, Mom Dukes is freaking out. Pops is freaking out. My little brother's cleaning himself up. The ambulance is here. He's good and messed up. Family's freaking out. They want these dudes locked up and all of that. I had to park my mom's car. I'm getting screamed at for taking the car, but I wasn't worried about the car. I wasn't worried about nothing but my little brother getting messed up. I had to get them for that. So the cops go down there and they see the dudes or whatever. They wind up coming back after they patch my little brother up. And they said there was a juvenile and 2 adult males in the car that did it. My little brother was a juvenile at the time. So they said that they couldn't do nothing to the adults. Nothing. we had to go to a judge or a commissioner and press charges ourselves and wait for the court system to work its way out and blah, blah, bullshit. And the kid who was actually driving the car, well, he got a little citation and was released to his mom. We ain't going for that. So, the cops are telling me, man, don't go do nothing. I said, don't you worry about what I'm doing. Y'all be seeing me later today. I already knew what time it was. So a couple hours later, it got to be around nighttime. Sun's going down. A couple of my little brother's buddies pulled up. They volunteered to jump in the car. So we went down there and we're loaded up. I had a slapjack. They had a couple bats or bars or whatever. But these guys are pretty young, man. They're not seasoned in that way, you know what I mean? So we get down there and these boys are out front. I jump out the car and I went at them. I couldn't catch but one of them, and you already know what it is. Their mom had actually come out of the house with a baseball bat screaming, "I'm gonna kill me a cracker tonight." Well, no, you ain't. So I'm not gonna get into all the if and was and this and that's and all that. Let's just say there was sirens coming from everywhere. Everywhere. I'm hearing the sirens, but I don't give a damn. All my brother's buddies are screaming, "Come on, man, let's get the fuck out of here." Nah, man, y'all go. Y'all go. I'm gonna keep the police off y'all's ass, just go. Police pulled up. I did it. It was me. Police got me at gunpoint. I'm over the hood of the car. I'm getting searched. To this day, I don't know why, but I didn't throw that slapjack. I put it in my back pocket so I didn't get shot seeing it, with them seeing it in my hand, On go to cuffs. Went to bail review the next day. Wound up getting released on house arrest. Sat on house arrest for a few months. And court comes up. Well, you heard what I said in the beginning of this, right? They gave me 2 years. 2 years and 4 months. Something like that. And they suspended the 4 months because I had to do a few months on a BOP because this case just violated my probation. So I had to go sit down in county jail for a couple months. And when it was over, going to where the big boys play. So I left the detention center, went to a place called MRDCC, downtown Baltimore, 550 East Madison Street. I did a video on that one not too long ago. You can go back and see what the place MRDCC is all about. It's called diagnostics. It's where you go get classified. You're going to sit. They're going to figure out who you are, how many times you've been locked up, your propensity for violence, your point system, and so on. They're going to determine what prison you go to. So I sat there for about a good month and a half, something like that. Now I was all on course with a 2-year system, a 2-year sentence to go to a minimum security pre-release. You see, in Maryland, second-degree assault is considered a nonviolent crime. Drug distribution, burglaries, breaking and enterings, first-degree burglary, stuff like that, those are considered violent. But second-degree assault, that's considered nonviolent. No, I don't get it either. But that's the way they classified me. I was going to go to a place that didn't have no fences, didn't have no nothing. It was called Southern Maryland Pre-Release Unit. That's where I was going. I was going to have an easy little 2 years to do. I was going to wind up doing something like 9 months to a year on it, nonviolent charge, get all this time off, work my sentence down, and and be on my way home. That didn't work out that way. While I was at MRDCC, I got this new cell buddy in. My original 2 cell buddies, I had one when I first got there. He went off to prison. Had another one that showed up. He was there on a violation of parole. They wound up letting him go home. So my 3rd cell buddy shows up. He's a good sized old white country boy. He's from out in western Maryland, somewhere out where the farms are at. This dude is bawling his eyes out when he walks in my cell. He's crying like a little ass girl. So I asked him, how much time you got? He's telling me he's looking at 6 months for violating probation. You're joking, right? No, I'm not joking. I'm facing 6 months. What are you crying about? Well, my girl's gonna leave me, man, and she's doing this and doing that with who it is and who is that. And listen, bro, you're facing 6 months. You can go back uptown. You can make that right. Find yourself another bro. Whatever you need to do. I don't need to hear you crying and bawling your eyes out about 6 months. Now, mind you, I've only got 2 years. I don't have nothing to cry about. But you damn sure don't have nothing to cry about. It wasn't good enough for him. So I tried to keep his mind occupied. Now, mind you, we're in the cell. We only get out 2 hours in the morning one day, 3.5, 4 hours in the evening the next day. So in between, you're in the cell for 12 to 14 hours is the one gap, and then 32 hours is the next gap. So you're being in the cell with a guy all this time. I wasn't trying to hear him crying that whole time about this dumbass female who's going to cheat on you because you got 6 months. You'd probably be home in like 4. They might not even send you to prison with that much little, that little bit of time because the prison systems are overcrowded. But he wasn't hearing it. Tried to keep his mind off of it. We got a deck of pinochle cards. So we're playing heads up pinochle or gin rummy or whatever we can do to pass the time because we can't do nothing else but stare at each other in there or sleep. And there's only so much sleeping you're going to do. In between games or, we'd have to stop to use the bathroom or eat or whatever when the food came to the cell. He would just start that crying shit again. Well, one day I had enough of it. And I'm like, look, bro, you're just going to have to chill with all that shit. Like, I can't deal with it no more. We're in the cell too long, too many hours of the day to where I got to keep on hearing your bullshit. Just shut the fuck up. There's certain things you don't say to a man, period, let alone in prison. Words such as bitch or fuck you or anything like that. You just don't disrespect another man unless you're ready to fight. After a few days of dealing with this dude, I was ready to fight. That's exactly what we did. We went rumbling all over that cell. There's blood leaking out of me. There's blood leaking out of him. Look over at the cell door, and the CO's standing right there looking at us. Y'all finished? Yeah, we're finished. We're thinking it's going to be cool, right? Like, she didn't call for backup or none of that. We're thinking things are going to be okay. Nope. She waited till we was finished. As soon as we got finished, standing up, putting the cell back together, straightening ourselves up, wiping the blood down. She calls the code anyway. Boy, did they come running in that cell, boy. They whipped our ass. They must have dumped 2 cans of mace, one on him, one on me. Man, did they beat us up. Took us to lock up. We both had to go sit in the cell on lockup for 30 days each because of this dumbass fight. So, got to do the 30 days on lockup. Mind you, I'm still waiting to go to my pre-release jail to do my 2 years, and that wasn't going to happen anymore because I just got into a fight in a classification center where they determine what your likelihood is of violence or fighting or whatever. So they increased my security level. I went from pre-release to medium 2. A couple days short of the 30 days, they wound up coming to my cell. They packed me up. Off to prison I go. They didn't tell me until I was downstairs. I was all chained up and everything. They didn't tell me where I was going. We had to go spend the night in the Supermax prison until all the transport buses got there in the morning. And they told me I was going to a place called Roxbury Correctional Institution in Hagerstown. Well, being in the classification prison, you ask as many questions as you can. Trying to figure out where you're going, or, depending on where you're going to go, you want to know as much as you can about the prison. It's your first time. You're nervous. I ain't going to lie. I was scared as shit. And I had heard about Roxbury. For the most part, it's a laid-back prison. There's a lot of dudes with a lot of time up there. And they don't want to get into no whole lot of crazy shit. Not a whole lot of young hoppers up there and so on. They like to send the real younger guys like I was at the time. In 2003, I was real young. Let me see. So I would have been 23 years old. So normally I would have went to MCTC, which is called the new jail, which is where they send the young guys. It's normally considered the hopper jail. But like I said, I went to medium 2 classification, so I went to Roxbury. So here we go. On the bus. Dudes on the left of me got life. Dudes on the right of me got 50 years. Dudes in front of me got 20 years. Armed robberies, murders, home invasions, kidnappings. You name it, they're on this bus. And here I am with my piddly ass 2 years. There wasn't no way in hell I was telling nobody on that bus I had 2 years to do. Nope. So I just stuck with the story that I had 10. Stuck with the story that I had 10. We get up to Hagerstown, pull up to Roxbury. Everybody from Roxbury, stand up. I'm the only one that stood up on this whole bus going to Roxbury. So now I'm even more nervous. I'm not walking in there with anybody that I've been talking to, that I know, anything like that. I'm walking into this prison by myself. I get into that thing, walk into this building, go through the whole strip search, and one of those ignorant strip searches. These big rednecks up in the mountains do not play with you. They don't laugh and joke. You're not going to talk to them, nothing. They're going to call you whatever they want. They're going to disrespect the shit out of you. Then they're going to tell you to bend over and spread them cheeks. Just make you feel like less of a man. When all that's said and done, you get your little phone call, tell your family where you're at. Go around to the property room and they hand you this great big ass box with all your stuff in it from the other prison. All your hygiene and whatever little commissary you might have had. Then you go to the property room. They give you a couple sets of jeans, another pair of tennis shoes, a pair of state work boots that look like if Timberlands were dipped in latex and they fall apart as soon as you get them wet. They're just the most horrible, most uncomfortable looking things you ever seen in your life. 3 pair of boxers, 3 pair of socks, 3 t-shirts, 2 blue button-down D.O.C shirts, and your sheets and your blankets. That's it. That's a lot of shit when you're walking out this back door. So look on the bag, it says 4C, 4A. I have no idea what that means. He said, go find where you sleep at. He said, do you realize you're a quarter mile away from where you need to be? What? Yeah, you're a long ways away from home, buddy. Go find where you sleep at. Walk out that door right there. Now, mind you, you just went from this filthy, dirty, disgusting ass lockdown prison with no fresh air. And then you open up this back door. And this place is huge. Whole bunch of green grass. Mountains all off in the background. There's stray cats running around. Skunks running around. The skunks and the cats are fighting. The inmates are walking around without any guards with them. Just this whole big ass intimidating world inside this fence. And it freaks you out when you first see it. And all I had been told the whole time coming up through the diagnostic system from the detention center and all of that was don't take nothing from nobody. Don't ask for no help from nobody. Nothing like that, because you never want to owe anybody anything. Well, one dude walked up to me, looked at my bag, and he saw that it said 4C, 4A on it, saw me carrying all this shit with me. And I mean, I got stuff stacked from probably here all the way up above my head. And I got to carry this stuff for a quarter mile all the way down to this housing unit. And he offers me some help. No. I'm good. I don't need no help, brother. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Man, come on, let me help you. Nope, I'm good. I just knew I wasn't taking nothing. I didn't ask for nothing. I'll take care of it myself because I don't want to owe you shit. Here I am, 140 pounds with maybe a brick in each pocket. Little ass 23-year-old white boy walking in this big old prison. I just knew I wasn't getting myself into no shit. I wasn't talking to nobody. So I eventually make it down to my cell. Well, not to my cell, to the housing unit. Walk in, get to the control room and hand the CO my paperwork. He says, all right, go and find your cell. How the hell am I supposed to do that? He says, well, I mean, this is how, can't you read, boy? 4C4. Anyway, he points where I need to go. Walk down and I heard this cell door open up. Walk all the way down to the cell. And I bend the corner and look in. And there's my cell buddy. All 6'4" of them, about 350-pound black dude. Ass naked sitting on the shitter taking a shit. He's screaming at me for them to get them to close the door because he's using the bathroom. I'm trying not to look at the man. And I'm trying to tell the CO to shut the door so he can finish shitting. Whole time the CO's screaming at me over this PA system to get in the cell. Man, what a fucked up way to walk into this cell, man. So, the COs weren't having it. They told me to get the hell in the cell anyway, so had to avoid this guy taking a shit. Went ahead and hung a blanket up between us, you know, like you would normally do in the cell if you were living there already or what have you, just so I didn't see him, he didn't see me. Finally, he gets finished up, washes up, we introduce ourselves to one another, and I'm there. So, I'm in there with old boy for a couple hours before we come out the cell the first time. He's a pretty cool dude from what I can understand, what I can tell of him. He's putting me down with, you know, what I should expect and who to be leery of and whatnot. Kind of showing me the ropes and as much as he could from anywhere from inside the cell. The first experience I had coming out the cell was when we went to dinner. And mind you, Never seen anything like this, but you're on a cell block with 48 cells, 96 men, and there's 4 tiers per housing unit, and they let all of us out to go to chow. So this is the first time you're seeing everybody. I'm hoping I'm gonna run into somebody I know, somebody from around my way, something like that. Some kind of ally besides my cell buddy who I don't know from a hill of beans. Experienced the first meal, walking back and all that, and there's a lot of things you got to learn on the fly. You're watching everybody run around hustling, bustling. Couple fights happen here, a couple fights happen there. There's arguing here and arguing there. You're just trying to keep your back against the wall, stay out the way, and stay to yourself. But of course, you're the new guy in prison. So I'm getting approached from all angles. Hey man, you want to buy this? Hey man, you need some of that? Hey, till your money lands, do you want to go to the store? You want to get some food? Hey, you want to sell me that? You want to sell me this? Are you getting your package? See, back then you were allowed to get a package from home with some clothes in it. A lot of guys do some wheeling and dealing because they've been there for a long time and they want to get clothes. And if you're not one of the ones who have, family out there looking out for you, if you don't have the means to get it, somebody will have a package sent in your name and they'll pay you for it. I wasn't one of those dudes, I got family who look out for me, so I had to keep the wolves at bay, as it were, because I wasn't selling nothing to nobody. I wasn't making any business transactions when I got there. So, going out to rec, learning, when you're going out to the yard, what you're going to do, who you're going to be with, or what have you. Being out in the rec hall the first few times, like I said, you're being approached from every which way, every angle. Everybody's trying to buy, sell, hustle, take advantage of you, whatever they can do. And you got to be smart, Don't fall into no traps. Don't do no business with nobody. That was my philosophy. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not borrowing nothing, not eating nothing. If I don't own it, I ain't touching it. That's just what it is. Well, that very first morning comes around. Now, mind you, I'm in a cell with this guy, and he's got everything. It's going to take me a little while to accumulate some things, to get a TV, to get a fan, to get a radio, stuff like that. And he had a TV, and he had the radio. He had been locked up for a while. He actually had one of the big old Magnavox boom boxes. You could jam the music. Only the lifers got those, or you inherited from somebody who may have left or what have you. So, he's been locked down a while if you see him with things like that. And his TV looked like something that I had never seen. So, like I said, I just knew he had been down for a long time. But it was a whole new experience being in a cell for me, having a remote control and being able to work the TV. He went to sleep early with his headphones on. He let me rock out with the TV. And up at Roxbury, late night, they used to play movies. They put DVDs on all night long. And I wasn't comfortable going to sleep in that prison. Not no way. It took me a good long while to settle in and actually start getting some sleep. And with the TV, I was up all night watching movies. I had no idea that breakfast came at about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you had to hurry up and get dressed and run out your cell to go to breakfast. But my cell buddy's alarm clock went off. He pops up, and he's like, hey, man, we're getting ready to go to breakfast if you want to go. I wound up with about 30 seconds to hurry up and get all my stuff on to go to breakfast. And where I'm at in Housing Unit 4, those of you that have been to Roxbury, the the building entrance kind of loops around. It's kind of like a U-turn to get into it. And it's not real visible. From what I hear, there's cameras up there now. But back then, it was the newest housing unit on the compound. And besides for the one CO who stands on the walkway at breakfast time, there was no real supervision there. We're all filing out. Like I said, 96 men per tier, 4 tiers walking out this door. And it's pitch black outside. You're in the mountains. There's a couple street lights on the sidewalk. But you don't want to be there if somebody wants to get you. And I learned that the hard way, very first time going to breakfast. My cell buddy grabs me, yanks me out the way. We're over on the grass. And I just saw this dude come around me and swung something. I didn't want to look because I didn't want to see nothing. I didn't want to be a witness to nothing. I don't know nothing. I'm not going to know nothing. Well, we wound up having to step over this dude laying in his own blood. Dude had a broken piece of a lawnmower blade. No lie. Hanging out of his neck. Laying there dying. In the middle of this walkway. Wow. I don't think I went to breakfast the whole rest of the time I was in that prison, y'all. I didn't want to have nothing to do with it, and I didn't want to be in that blind spot for nothing. Somebody swinging something like that, you're liable to get hit with it, cut with it. All these bodies bumping into one each other. No. I ain't gonna lie, that scared the living shit out of me. So this was all just my first 24, 48 hours in the jail, man. This place scared the shit out of me. So, time starts moving along. I'm in the weight pit, that's my thing. I really got into the working out and lifting weights and all that in there. You wouldn't catch me just out there hanging with no rowdy crowd or group or nothing like that. Had my little clique that I worked out with, a couple fellas that I was cool with, and that was that. I stuck to myself, besides for my fellas that I mess with. Well, one day the newspaper comes around. There were certain individuals on the tier that used to get newspaper subscriptions from back home. A lot of them being from Baltimore. I'm from really, really close to Baltimore, so the Baltimore Sun was our newspaper. And the newspaper comes around. And I think it was the second or third page of the paper is the dude that sleeps down here in cell 10. There's a picture of him. He's going back to court. Now, he's been locked up a good long while. The problem with the newspaper coming out is his whole case was in that newspaper. This man, it was found out through the newspaper article and through people talking that this man physically took his infant child and put the baby in the microwave. Now, there's a lot of stuff in prison that I've seen through the few times that I've been to prison. I've seen fights and stabbings and, I mean, you name it, you'll see it behind those walls. But you ain't never seen somebody get it like somebody who messes with kids. Sexually, violently, what have you. When it was exposed that this man's case came out, the gangs weren't real prevalent up there back in 2003, but they were there. They weren't out there like they are now. But there was no gang this or gang that when it came to this dude. The entire tier plotted on this man. This man had no idea what was coming to him. Nobody brought word to him. Nobody told him that his case was out there in the paper, and nobody told him nothing. And one day this man got into the shower. Now the shower is directly across from the rec hall where we're all in playing spades or pinochle or watching TV or poker or tonk or dominoes or whatever. It's the rec hall for a reason. It's where you wait to use the phone. Back then, the phones weren't in the rec hall. They were all the way down the end of the cell block. There was a couple phones instead of being 6 or 8 phones in a rec hall like there are now. But across from rec hall, there was the shower stall with 3 stalls in it. 3 showers downstairs, 3 showers upstairs. And there's nothing but this little knee wall. And a little curtain in the middle where you walk in and out of. And procedure is you put your stuff down, you get in the shower, you leave a pair of boxers on, you scrub up, do what you gotta do, you get out, dry off, put your clothes back on, and away you go. This particular day, this man got in the shower. And nobody got in the shower with him. Now this is after the yard. This is after everybody's been out playing basketball, football, softball, working out, hitting the weights. Everybody's sweaty. And it's normally a bum rush to get in that shower, because you don't have much time between the end of rec and the time you got to lock in your cell for 96 men to take a shower. Now, granted, not everybody takes a shower, but there's a lot of men that go out there and get all sweated up and need to get in that water. And this man got in that bottom shower by himself. Those of us that's been in prison, those of y'all that have been locked up, you can tell when something's getting ready to go down. You don't have to hear that something's getting ready to happen. You can kind of just feel it. You can look around and see the things being passed and things being moved, and just the way the whole place moves. And I'm kind of piecing it together. Okay, he's doing okay. All right, this guy's doing. Something's really getting ready to go down. Something serious. And when you see all the inmates get up against the rec hall glass where the corner is, this is where the COs look down from the control room and they can see into the rec hall. And everybody starts kind of lining up on that glass to limit the CO's visibility into the rec hall. Now, normally if people are like congregating around that area, the COs will see it, they'll jump over the PA system, or the CO will be on the tier and they'll tell you to clear out of there because they can't see. This particular day, the COs didn't act fast enough. And everything was kind of blocked off by a wall of humans. And you hear the microwave go off. Beep, beep. Out of this microwave comes this bucket. One dude grabs that bucket and he starts slow walking over to the shower. Now, mind you, old boy's just in there just soaping himself away. Has no idea what's coming. Slash! He got hit with this bucket full of baby oil that had been microwaving for about a good 8-9 minutes in that microwave. I don't know if any of y'all have ever heard of that happening. I'm sure some of my older guys have. Some of the people that's been in prison have heard of it. But I don't know if a lot of y'all have seen it. When this man got hit with that baby oil, you could smell his flesh burning and him screaming as if somebody was smashing his nuts with a ball peen hammer. I mean, this guy was screaming. Physically, his skin was coming off of his body. No sympathy for this dude. Not one person offered to help him. Nobody called for the CO. This man went crawling out on his belly for help from the guards. Needless to say, we got locked down for a few days while they tried to investigate it, but there were no cameras. Convicts don't say nothing. Now, there's snitches everywhere. There's the undercover guy who you wouldn't think was a snitch, and he's telling everything. There's people that'll drop little notes in the mailbox to the guards. There's all kinds of ways for these people to tell on you. Not a single soul told on the man who threw this stuff on this guy. That man deserved what he got. I don't feel bad for him. But that was a horrible situation. Now, mind you, this is 2 situations in about the first 3 or 4 weeks that I'm in this prison. And that's just 2 of them. I can't even count the amount of incidents that I've seen just in this one prison. And I've been to a lot of the prisons in the state of Maryland. But I know this video is running long, so I'm going to cut it short here. There's a lot more stories I got to share. I'm getting a lot of good feedback in the comments and on my Facebook and whatnot. Those of y'all that have helped me, starting to get this channel off the ground, that have subscribed, liked, commented, I appreciate y'all. Something I enjoy doing. And I would definitely appreciate any other subscribers, anybody who would subscribe to the channel and help me keep this thing moving. Trying to get more comfortable on the camera, y'all. This is something real new to me, getting in front of a camera and telling these stories. But if any of y'all got any suggestions, any criticism, any feedback, any stories you'd like to hear, something you'd like to hear me talk about, drop a comment, man. Let me know. I try to answer every comment that I get. And I'm going to work on improving these videos in any way that I can. But like I said, I've done a lot of time. I've done quite a few prison bits. Not any super long ones, but I've had a few of them. Been a lot of places, seen a lot of things. And I'm happy to keep sharing these stories with y'all. So if you would support the channel, man, hit the subscribe button for me, drop a comment, a like, share the video for me, help me keep this thing moving. And I'll see y'all next time, man. Peace.